Warning, the following footage is of a game in its alpha build. Any criticism is meant to be constructive and is not representative of the final game. Hello everybody, and welcome to my first impressions video of a Hat in Time alpha build. This is a video that I've been looking forward to for quite some time, actually. As of the time of this recording, it is February 21st, 2014, which means the alpha build was released yesterday. In that time, there was already a patch released that's like 100 megabytes or something, and already fixed a few problems that were, you know, specifically in the menus. The hitboxes on these menus were really weird. Like, you couldn't, the bar wouldn't change unless you were like up here. It was kind of weird, and they've already fixed that. So, the developers are definitely supporting this build quite a bit. So before we get into the game, I'm going to take a look at the options menu, because while this is a game in the style of 3D platformers on the N64, it is still a PC game in the year 2014. So let's take a look at the options menu and see what it has to offer. So first thing first, systems menu. Pretty much what you would expect. Borderless window, full screen VSync. Screen resolution. There are a ton of resolutions available, actually. I can't really show you them because whenever you change the resolution, while in full screen, at least in my experience, whenever you change the resolution, it automatically changes the resolution, which is one criticism of this options menu I would have. Is an apply button or something like that down here would be really nice, so you can flip through the resolutions without having to actually change the resolution every time, because I had a heck of a time trying to get this up to 1080, but now that it's here, looks good. I really like this. They let you change the max frame rate according to your needs. It goes 30, 60, 90, 120. I'm going to stick it at 60 because my monitor only refreshes at 60 Hertz, but it's really cool that they have that option available. There are not enough games these days that have those options. So many people locking to 30. So, okay. Graphics options. For such a stylized game, there are a ridiculous number of options available. MLAA, shaders, draw distance going from extremely low to very high. Very, very nice. Anisotropic filtering, different model qualities. Texture settings, actually I'm going to crank that up to very high, but you can go all the way from extremely low to very high on both of these. And let me just have a disclaimer. My computer is not the best. Right now I have an FX 4100 and an R9 280X, and this game is running absolutely smooth at 60 frames with everything cranked up to the highest settings. So I'm pretty sure you could probably play this on like medium settings on a netbook or something. It performs very well, especially for an alpha build. So performance, not an issue. Options menu, graphics options, very good. I have motion blur turned off just because I don't like motion blur that much. So very good. Game settings, kind of nothing there. Audio, also, you can turn the voice acting on and off, and that's about it. Separate audio sliders would be nice. One issue I do have with this options menu is there's nowhere for key bindings. You can't rebind any of the keys, and that's something I would like to see in the future. Again, alpha is alpha, so I'm sure it's something that is currently being worked on, but if I had to criticize one major thing in the options menu as of right now, that would be the lack of rebindable keys. Additionally, gamepad. I've played this game on a 360 controller. Currently, I'm playing with keyboard and mouse because there's no way to change the camera settings that I know of. So the X-axis is inverted in a way that I don't like, and there's no way to change it right now on my controller. So I'm sticking to keyboard and mouse. Thankfully, works quite well. So cooperative play, not currently available in this build, but as soon as it becomes available, I will definitely be bringing you a video about it. So single player, we have only a couple of things to choose from, really. We have Chapter 1, Act 1, Mafia Town, Queen Vanessa, which is kind of a sort of horror-esque level, pretty much. And then Mafia Town with no act attached, which is basically Chapter 1, Act 1, but completely free roam. There's no restrictions, there's nothing story-wise to do, you just roam around. So, yeah. Let's get into it. I think I'm gonna start with Mafia Town with no acts attached because it's the easiest way to kind of demonstrate points because there's no story restrictions. So the first thing you're probably going to notice about this game is the graphics and just the graphical style. This game is ridiculously colorful. It is like almost disgustingly colorful in the best possible way. It's just really, really nice to see a game that has a really coherent graphical style. Like, there isn't really much in this game that seems out of place. It's very coherent. You can tell they had a really good idea of what they wanted their game to look like. And right off the bat, I will say there are a lot of things that I think are inspirations from Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, I think. I mean, just with the bloom lighting effects, you can see some inspiration from Wind Waker HD. Even just the water texture, that is very Wind Waker-esque, and the smoke effects and stuff. But personally, I think that is a great thing, because even the original Wind Waker, in the year 2014, you know, like a friggin' decade after release, the game still looks great, because it's a graphical style that stands the test of time, and this game, 10 years, 20 years from now, I think this game is still going to look fantastic, because you don't have to worry about photorealism when you've got such a wonderfully stylized game. So, as far as the environments are concerned, the game absolutely looks fantastic. Lighting effects especially, that's one of the things that I find most impressive, is the lighting effects in this game are really, really fun to look at. The water looks amazing with the lighting effects reflecting off of it. The ripples looks really, really good. So that leaves, I guess, gameplay. Let's talk about gameplay. Oh, that's interesting. They have little error messages show up on the side. I've never actually had that happen. As far as the gameplay is concerned, Hat Girl, she controls really, really well, I have to say. She, the control feels quite tight, and I was a little bit skeptical when I saw everything being demoed with a keyboard and mouse. I was like, I don't know, 3D platformers with a keyboard and mouse have a tendency to be kind of floaty in my experience, and that is absolutely not the case here. It is pretty great. She controls very well. Oh. Yeah, I'm clever. Sorry, this was like an automatic thing. So, yeah, this is one of the many collection mechanics of the game. So basically, when you beat Mafia men, they drop their ties, and so when they drop their ties, you use that as a currency and trade it to this guy for an item, although there are no items available currently in the alpha build. There really isn't a lot in the way of like trading, buying things, stuff like that. There's really nothing going on there, but it's alpha, so that's pretty much to be expected. So you may have seen that I'm collecting some of these like little tickets everywhere. The reason for that actually is there are a few safes scattered around this world, and as you can see, you collect those tickets, and when you collect the correct number, you can actually go over to the safe, and the safe will open up for you. And it will drop little collectible orbs, and also parts to badges, and badges are actually another point to talk about. Let's see, where did it go? Oh, actually, here's part of a badge right now. The Electro badge. I actually already have that badge equipped. So different badges you can equip to your hat, and they will give different effects. So this one, for example, gives 1 damage of shock to any enemy that hits you physically. So here we go, open up the safe, and we get another badge part. So here is Snatcher's Laugh badge. Do I have? No, okay. I need to collect one more. That badge, basically, when you collect it, or when you complete it, you can do like a little quick dodge, little teleport and stuff, and that quick dodge feels pretty good. There's another badge that you can get called like the Owl's Brew badge, which lets you throw... Oh, that's weird. Okay, I can't climb this ladder apparently. Which lets you throw a concoction and do 2 damage to enemies around you. One issue I have with that is both... This is another argument for rebindable keys. Both of those badges, both of those actions are bound to the shift key by default. And so what happened was I got the Owl's Brew badge, and I then got the Quick Dodge badge, and I was not able to do the Quick Dodge because the Owl's Brew automatically was the primary thing bound to the shift key. So at this point, there's pretty much no way to do both actions. And additionally, there is no like inventory menu right now, so there's no way to actually change the badges. To my knowledge, there are only 3 badges available in this build, but I am very excited to see more badges become available in the future. So let's see, what else is there? I guess as far as the jumping mechanics are concerned, yeah, the physics on these wires are a little bit wonky right now, but as far as the mechanics of the platforming are concerned, feels very good. However, if I had one criticism, it would be the wall jump can be kind of interesting sometimes. So, for example, here, you know, I jump up against a wall, and then I can wall jump off of it. But if I walk really close to it, I don't do that. So there's this kind of middle ground where you, if you're trying to platform, go up a ledge, you can kind of expect to double jump and accidentally wall jump. And I'm not really sure how they would make this better, but it is something that's a little bit wonky right now. Because sometimes if you're really high up on a ledge and you try to double jump, you can just jump right back down to square one. So that is somewhat of an issue, but it's really kind of a minor gripe. Let's see here. So I guess combat in this game. You have an umbrella, and with the umbrella you can hit the Mafia Men. And after you hit them 3 times, they get kind of this red aura around them, and you actually can't damage them with your umbrella anymore, so you have to jump on their heads. And initially, this mechanic with the jumping on Mafia Men's heads, I really was not a fan of. It felt kind of weird doing it, but the way that they... Oh yeah, and of course here is a tie. So initially I didn't like it, but the way they present it to you in the tutorial is pretty intuitive actually, because you are stuck... let me see if I can find the area. There's a big pile of TNT, and you are your camera is kind of stuck. You can't move your camera around, and so you're stuck kind of walking around like this, around this. And so the way they presented the jumping was pretty nice, because you couldn't move the camera around. So it gave you a really good sense of the Mafia Men's hitbox and everything like that. So combat overall pretty good. It feels really nice. The effects when you actually hit somebody with your umbrella, and the mixed with the sound effects, really satisfying. So I would say combat feels really nice. As you can see, they've got some kind of pseudo RPG elements, I guess, in it with the damage numbers. And I've always kind of had this opinion about games when it comes to adding RPG mechanics, because it's becoming so common these days. Just, you know, oh, let's add a progression system just so that people will be more hooked to the game. For me, if you're going to do a progression system, or if you're going to add in RPG mechanics, go all the way. This is actually one of the main issues I had with Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. They had RPG elements in there, but they really just kind of had very basic surface level RPG elements. And so I just thought, if you're going to do it all the way. So as far as the damage numbers are concerned, they seem slightly out of place in this game, and it's entirely possible that they're just there for testing purposes for the alpha build, and they'll be taken out in the final version, in which case that's totally fine. But if not, I would say, you know, they should give you upgrades to your umbrella, to your jumping, to your damage output throughout the game, so it feels like those numbers are there for a reason. And likewise, increase the Mafia Men and the enemy's health throughout the game, so that you're not just one-shotting things. But if you're gonna have RPG elements in there, definitely don't half-ass it, because a lot of games have done that, and it's really unfortunate. This game so far, I mean, I'm liking the customization with the badges. That seems like a really neat concept, and I'm excited once you can actually start like buying upgrades, trading upgrades, stuff like that. For now, really the only way to collect badge parts is either find them in the world, or you can find Mafia Men beating up this guy throughout the world. And if you save him and defeat the Mafia Men, he will get really happy, and he'll actually drop badges for you. So here's an Owl's Brew badge. One left. It's kind of weird, the progression system here, or the way the game saves progression. I had just been playing this not too long ago, and I had collected all 3 badges that you could get, and when I re-entered the game, it had me restarted back down to just the Electro badge, so that's kind of a weird thing. But, yeah, so that's pretty much that. You can have these balloons here to kind of give your jumps extra height. Here's kind of the first safe that you're supposed to open, right here, and it really just drops these things. The bar in the upper left-hand corner is kind of like a magic meter, I guess. And when you throw an Owl's Brew or do a quick dodge, that meter drains a little bit, and collecting these orbs will refill that meter, so that's good. Let's see if we can maybe get another badge so I can at least show off. Whoa! Oh goodness. Well, that was a thing. Okay. Let's try and get back up there. I'd like to show you guys another badge just besides the electroshock badge, because the electroshock really just works the way you'd expect. When an enemy hits you, they take shock damage like that. Okay. So, let's see here. Right. Go. Okay. So he's happy, and okay, cool. Wait, did I already collect one of these? Yes, I did, I think. There we go. So we have Snatcher's Laugh, which is the quick dodge badge. So now, as you can see, if I hit shift, I can kind of teleport around, and you get this creepy kind of face. But it can be quite useful to kind of like extend your jump a little bit, like if you're doing that, and then you can kind of make it onto platforms. So that feels pretty good, if I do say so. Okay. So what else is there even really to talk about? I guess there are hats that you can get. To my knowledge, there's only one additional hat available in this build. And I can't for the life of me remember where you're supposed to get it. To my knowledge, hats only really affect aesthetics, which I think is actually probably for the better. If they were to start making it so that hats were to affect actual gameplay elements, that might not end up going so great, just because you might end up having to wear a hat that you don't necessarily like as much, because like I like this hat much more than the second hat that you can get, and so it would be unfortunate if you had to wear a hat you didn't like the look of just because it is objectively better. So I would like it if they had hats just purely for aesthetics, because it really adds to the customizability of the game, besides just the badge system, besides what the badge system adds in. So that's pretty much my opinion on the hats at this point. What else is there even to talk about? Oh, here's the button, and it'll unlock the hat. I'm not gonna go grab it, but you can kind of see what the hat looks like. But yeah, I'm trying to think. I feel like there is more to be talked about, but at this point, that's all I can really think of. Oh, okay, yeah, actually, there is one more thing I can talk about. Down here, there's actually a little rocket thing, and you can ride these rockets, control them, and you can go through this hoop, and when you go through the hoop, which I actually didn't, I failed at doing that, this guy will challenge you to a race, which so far I have not been able to complete at all. As far as the rockets are concerned, this is one area where I would say the controller definitely has... Oh, whoops. I accidentally started a race. No thanks, I'm just gonna crash this. My goodness. So that's... The rockets are an aspect where I would say the controller, like a gamepad, has a significant advantage over keyboard and mouse. Honestly, in the platforming, I would say they're about even, but the controls on the Rocket for the keyboard are really, really finicky, and it's pretty hard to control it at this point. So that's one thing to keep in mind, is that's an aspect where the controller actually has a significant advantage over keyboard and mouse. But other than that, I would say they're about even. So I guess that's pretty much it for the basic mechanics of the game. There's really not much else to be said about it. I guess I can kind of go into the Queen Vanessa level a little bit and just talk about that, because I'm not sure. I feel like my opinion on this might not be representative of the majority of people who play this game, but we'll see. So let's return to the main menu here. Also, I haven't mentioned this yet, which I feel bad for not mentioning. The music, there's not much available, but the music is great. Especially this title music. I mean, come on. My YouTube name is Cransoon, so of course the fact that bassoons are getting some attention in this title music is fantastic. So, alright, let's go into Queen Vanessa really quick. Like I said, this is kind of more of a horror sort of thing. It's not really platforming. The camera is actually locked in place. You can't move it around, which kind of adds to the horror aesthetic. Fixed camera view, sort of like the original Resident Evil and such. Or, well, not necessarily like that, but the lack of camera control definitely does build some tension because you can't look around corners and stuff like that. As you can see, it's quite a bit darker. If I wait here really quick, you can see Queen Vanessa comes out here, and if she catches you, she'll kind of turn you to stone, and it can be really scary, actually. If you like walk out of a door and she's right there and just grabs you, that can be kind of unnerving. But I guess here's where my opinion comes into play, and this is nothing but that, just my opinion. I really, in what I've experienced, I don't like this level nearly as much as Mafia Town, because with 3D platformers and collectathons, I love the openness of the world. I love the colorful, you know, I love how colorful things are and how much freedom you have more than anything. And this level so far has been immensely linear. I don't know if you can really beat it at this point in the build, but it's been extremely linear. You know, you go into this fridge, you grab a key, you use the key on the piano, jump on the piano to knock things down, and then grab another key and move on to the next floor. It's extremely linear and stuff like that. And while I would not say it's bad by any means, it's not really playing to the strength of the game, in my opinion. So that's pretty much my opinion on that, I guess. That's out of everything in the alpha build that I've played, it's the most major criticism I can probably give, is just the fact that this level really doesn't play to the strengths that were set up in the first level. But again, that does not make it bad, it just makes it not necessarily my favorite, you know. So that about wraps up that level, I think. I mean, things feel pretty solid. When you get caught, it can be really, really freaky. Your face kind of disappears and you get turned to stone. It's a thing that happens. So yeah. So I think that actually pretty much wraps up my impressions of this game. I guess if I had to really summarize my opinion, I would say this game has an immense amount of potential. Because it's such a limited look at this game, and because it's kind of a vertical slice at this point, I can't say for sure that this game will be good, because also story hasn't come into play really at all. Like, there's a tiny bit of story in Chapter 1, Act 1. You pretty much find out, like, you fell from the sky, and that's about all you know. So there's really not much to go on with story, but with these collectathons, the story was never really the main focus. It's the gameplay that really sold it, and so far, the gameplay feels really solid. And I would say there is a great foundation for an absolutely fantastic game. I mean, there's not even much content happening, and I've spent probably 4 hours just, you know, messing around in the world, exploring in Mafia Town, stuff like that. And when your game literally has nothing to offer except just free roaming and it's still captivating, that's the sign of a game that has a great deal of potential. And there's just a lot of character, a lot of charm in the game. So I would say, as of right now, game's got potential. I'm really excited to see what the developers have to offer in the future. What future builds will bring, what extra content they're going to start adding. And I will absolutely be covering this game more as updates happen. And so definitely keep an eye out on my channel, because as updates get rolled out, I will definitely be uploading more content. Probably won't be as long as this video. Sorry, this video has kind of dragged on quite a bit longer than I was initially expecting, but I figured this game deserves a very in-depth look, and additionally, I really don't like it when people just say, okay, game's good, that's it. You know, I like the longer, more in-depth style of coverage, where you really take a look at the core mechanics and pick them apart bit by bit. So hopefully you guys didn't have a problem with that, because that's the kind of coverage I want to do, because I feel like there are too many people who kind of give a cursory glance at it and just not a whole lot more, and you can't really get a feel for the game as a whole unless you really break it down to the bare essentials and take a look at each individual mechanic. So yeah, so that about wraps me up for my first impressions on A Hat in Time. Fun game, great looking game, has just a boatload of potential in the future. So that about does it. Thank you everybody so much for watching through this video, if you made it all the way to the end of this. So thank you everybody for watching, and I will see you next time.